Hey y'all, today we are making homemade cocoa and some tea mixes. Okay, so first up we are making hot chocolate or hot cocoa, whichever one you call it. So to a large bowl, or at least a medium-sized bowl, we're going to add in 3.5 cups of powdered milk. Y'all know I use the non-fat because that's just what I buy. You can absolutely use the whole milk if that's the one that you prefer. Whichever one you like will work, okay? So we're going to add 3.5 cups of that to our bowl. And then look, milk powder goes everywhere, the little dust from it. So the next thing that we're going to add is cocoa powder, and we're going to add 1 cup, and we're going to sift this in because you know cocoa powder is notorious for having little lumps and clumps in it. So we're going to go ahead and sift that so we don't end up with big chunks of stuff in our cocoa. And we're also going to sift our powdered sugar in a minute. So 1 cup of cocoa going into your sifter, and then just sift that up. Now I'm using just Great Value cocoa. A lot of people told me to get the Dutch processed cocoa. I got it, and y'all, I do not like it. I don't like dark chocolate though, and to me that dark Dutch processed cocoa, and I got a good brand. I got like the Ghirardelli or something, but I don't like the flavor of it. It's way too bitter in my opinion. But I don't really like dark chocolate like I said, so maybe that's the problem. So I'm using my good old Great Value cocoa. Use whatever kind of cocoa you like. So now I'm going to add in the powdered sugar. Now y'all know we make powdered sugar together, so make you some powdered sugar. But I'm going to go run this through the sifter as well, just to be on the safe side, because powdered sugar does like to clump and lump sometimes too. And you're going to add 3.5 cups of the powdered sugar. So we've got 3.5 cups of powdered milk, 3.5 cups of powdered sugar, and a cup of cocoa. And you're going to notice when I mix mine up, or maybe you noticed from the thumbnail, mine is light colored, and that's because I used a lighter color cocoa. Now if you use a darker color cocoa, or if you use choose to add more cocoa in here, then yours may be a little bit darker than mine. So if yours comes out and you're like, oh, it's way darker, it could just be the cocoa that you used, okay? And the sugar you can also adjust. In my opinion, I like a sweet cocoa, so the 3.5 cups works for me. If you don't like it as sweet, then you can add less of the powdered sugar. And you can also add, make less of the recipe. You don't have to make this much. But I will tell y'all, as usual, the recipes, the links for the printable recipes are in the description box for y'all. And I did include, because I get a lot of questions on how long is this shelf stable, how many servings does it make, and I didn't think to put that on the recipes in the past. But going forward, I'm going to start adding that stuff too, as much as I can. And if I remember, y'all know I'm about half crazy. So anyway, I'm doing my best, y'all. I'm doing my best. But you will have the measurements, all the recipes, how to make it, how to make what goes in the jar, how to make it when you're ready to drink it, how many servings it makes, and how long it is good in your pantry. It will all be on the recipe. So once you get everything sifted in, you're just going to mix this up really, really well to make sure everything is good and combined. And you're actually supposed to also add 2 teaspoons of salt to this, but I forgot. I'm going to add them in a minute. My jar is a refill jar, if you were wondering why it already looked like it had chocolate in it, because I had hot chocolate in it before. This is me refilling it. So this makes about 6 cups, and this is my half-gallon jar. This makes about 6 cups of cocoa. So this is going to make you about 24 servings, okay? About 24 cups of cocoa is what you'll get out of it. So I went back right there and added my 2 teaspoons of salt, and then I'm just going to shake it up real good, And sometimes y'all ask me, how come you don't just do everything in the jar? Well, for this one, we kind of couldn't anyway because we were sifting. But I like to put stuff in a bowl because I feel like it mixes up better, and then I add it to my jar. But you do it however you want to do it. So when you're ready to make this, You're going to add in about a 1/4 cup, which is about 4 tablespoons of your mix. And I'm using not an actual measuring tablespoon. So, you know, if you like more, put more in there. If you like less, put less in there. It's just a guideline, y'all. Just a guideline to go by. I use about a 1/4 cup of the mix. This is a little bit bigger of a cup. It's not a small coffee cup or like a regular size coffee cup. It's a little bit taller. So then you're just going to add boiling water to it, or you can add hot milk if you would rather milk, if you want it extra creamy. But for me, because it's already got powdered milk in it, I don't add milk to it, but you definitely can. And then these are some marshmallows that I dehydrated. I am going to talk y'all through real fast how I did that in just a second, in case you want to make your own dehydrated marshmallows as well, especially if you're giving this as like gifts and stuff. So what you're going to do, this is my cheap little dehydrator. I got it at Ollie's. I didn't pay hardly anything for it. Use whatever kind of dehydrator you want. My cat hears somebody outside. Okay, honey, it's all right. Lord, he's out there screaming like a crazy person. There's another cat in my backyard, I think. Anyway, moving on from that. If y'all hear somebody that sounds like they're dying, it's the cat, I promise. So anyway, just take your marshmallows. You want them in a single file line or like layer, and you don't want them too crowded in there because you want the airflow to get around there to be able to dehydrate these. You can also do the homemade marshmallows that we made, but if you do those, you need to cut them into smaller pieces or they will take forever. I'm just telling you. Cut them into smaller pieces and then roll them in the powdered sugar again so that you don't have sticky edges that stick to your dehydrator. So I cooked mine on 150 for about 4 hours. This is what they're going to look like when you pull them straight out of there hot. See, you'll look at this and you'll be like, I don't think that's done. Let them sit there for about 15-20 minutes and then they're done. Okay, once they dry or cool down, they'll go ahead and dry the rest of the way out. So if you let them sit there for 10-15 minutes and you cut them and they're still gooey in the middle, put them back in the dehydrator, okay? So that is our dehydrated marshmallows. Super easy. Throw them in a jar. They'll last forever, y'all. So next up, we are making chai latte, okay? So this is also called masala chai, I think. That's where it comes like from India. But, you know, I'm just telling y'all the information that I found on the old Google. So what we're going to add to this is 1 cup of plain powdered coffee creamer. And you can use whatever kind you like, whatever brand you like. I'm not a coffee drinker. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know that. So I had to go buy coffee creamer to make this recipe. But if you have coffee creamer, just use what you have. But this is plain powdered coffee creamer. Then we're going to add in 1 cup of the French vanilla coffee creamer. And I'm telling y'all, this is it's all powder, y'all, nothing liquid. That stuff smelled so good. Like I just wanted to just drink it right out of the darn container, powder and all. But I didn't. I held myself back. But it smells so good. It's so vanilla. I mean, it is French vanilla, but y'all know what I mean. If you've ever smelled it, you know what I mean. It smells very delightful. So anyway, the next thing that we're going to add in here is powdered milk. Now, if you don't know what chai latte is, it's like a creamy spiced tea is basically what it is, okay? So I added in 1 cup of the powdered milk. I had a 1/2 cup measuring cup. That's why you saw me add it twice. The next thing that we're going to add in there is 2.5 cups of sugar. This makes a lot, y'all. So don't freak out about the amount of sugar I'm putting in here. But if you don't like sugar in your tea, you can leave it out. You can leave the sugar out and then adjust it when you make your tea to add whatever you want. So now you're going to need some unsweetened powdered tea. Now this I had to get off of Amazon. My store did not have any at all. Not any of the stores around me. So if you cannot find it, Amazon does have it. I will link this down in the description box for y'all. It is, in my opinion, a little pricey, but it's not any pricier than Lipton that I could find, okay? Because all the prices I saw on Lipton were quite a bit too. So, but you need instant, unsweetened tea powder, okay? You need 1.5 cups of that. Now we're going to add in the spices. You're going to add in 2 teaspoons of ginger. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Then we are going to add in, like I said, these are like fall flavors. It's like a spice. So when I say spice, I don't mean like onion powder. I mean like spicy, like fall spices, you know. So I added in a teaspoon of allspice. Now we're adding in a teaspoon of cloves. We're going to add in 1 teaspoon of cardamom. I had never used cardamom, so I had to give it a little sniff and see what I was working with, you know, just to make sure I wanted to put it in there. And this, I believe, is like the Starbucks copycat version of this. So then you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. Okay, so that is our seasonings that we're adding to this. And y'all, don't call this chai tea, because do you know what the word chai means? Tea. If you call this chai tea, you are calling it tea tea. Let's not do that. Let's learn some things today. So it is chai latte, okay, not chai tea. So anyway, when you get this all mixed up, we are going to run this through the blender. Now, this is my high-speed blender. Y'all have asked me a lot lately about this. I will try to link this in the description box for y'all too, just so you can look at it if you're thinking about getting one. This is the Ninja Smoothie Maker. I got it at Target 100 years ago on sale, but you can get them anywhere. But I will put the Amazon link for y'all if you want to just look at it and see if it's something that you want, but then you can just buy it wherever you want to. So you're just going to do this a cup or so, or couple of cups at a time, until you get all of your tea blended up. And we're just making this into a fine powder, so it's just extra yummy and creamy, okay? Just gonna melt in there a little bit better. So I'm also using a 1/2 gallon jar for this. This is going to make also about 6 cups of mix, and we're gonna get like 48 servings out of this. Okay, so it makes a lot. It makes a lot. This is definitely something you can make and gift to people if you want to. So when you get ready to make this, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of your mix, and then you're going to add a cup of either boiling water or hot milk. Either one you want to do will work just fine. If you want it creamier, add the milk. If you just want more of just a creamy tea with the powdered milk that's already in it, and the creamers, then just add boiling water. I thought it was delicious just with the boiling water, but you definitely can do milk with it also. I haven't tried it with milk yet, but I will. So mix it up, and it is so good. Those spices are so good, y'all. So the next thing that we're going to make is friendship tea. This is also called Russian tea, for anybody who hasn't made this before or has maybe seen it, you're wondering what it is. So what you're going to add to this is 2 cups of Tang. Now, if you don't know what Tang is, it's it's an orange flavored drink. So it's not orange juice, but it's also like not orange Kool-Aid. It is already sweet. So hopefully you can find it wherever you live. I know some countries may not have certain things, but I'm not sure if Tang is worldwide or not, but that's what it is. So the next thing I added is this Country Time lemonade mix. This is also pre-sweetened. So I added 1.5 cups of that. Then we're going to add that instant tea powder again. You're going to need 1 cup for this recipe. We're going to add in 1 cup. Be careful with this powder because it is a very fine powder and it will get all over your counter and your kitchen. And if you have a round countertop like me, you don't see it until you've stuck your arm in it, and then you have it all over your arm and it looks like you've been playing in a mud hole. So that's just my little piece of advice for that. It's very powdery. So then you're going to add in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then we're going to add in a teaspoon of cloves, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of allspice. This reminds me of the drink that we used to make, well, like when you get sick and you make like the tea with lemon and honey and you put a little whiskey in it, you know, that cures what ails you. You know what I'm saying? That is what this reminds me of. It's really good. So I would say if you're feeling a little under the weather, put a little shot of whiskey in one of these glasses of tea. It'll fix you right on up. It'll cure what ails you. So anyway, mix that up really good, and then we're just going to scoop that right into our jar. That is a 32-ounce jar. So this is going to make about 4 cups of mix, which ends up being about 64 servings. Okay, so this is another one that makes a lot. And look how pretty it is in the jar. Now you can shake it up and those little waves will go out of it. But if you pour it into another jar, like if you're going to separate it to give it as gifts, it will pour back into layers like that. At least mine did. So it is very pretty. And it tastes good too. So for this one, you're just going to add 1 tablespoon of your mix. And then you're going to add that 1 cup of boiling water. And if I didn't say this, I'm not, because I can't remember if I did or not, the recipes that I have in the description box for y'all will have how many servings these make, all the instructions, and it will tell you what the shelf life is. Because those are questions I've been getting a lot from people. So I'm going to do my best to try to include those on the recipes going forward. I'm just one person, y'all. I'm doing the best I can over here, but I'm trying to do, you know, take y'all's advice and the things that y'all want and give you what you're needing for these recipes. And I understand it, but sometimes I get a little discombobulated and I forget things. But, you know, here we are. So that is our Russian friendship tea. It is so good, y'all. And then don't forget about our chai latte, not chai tea. We're not making tea. Chai tea, that's something that y'all, that's your lesson of the day. And then obviously our hot cocoa. So y'all have been asking for some drink mixes. I hope that y'all enjoy these. I hope that you try some of these. But that is all I have for y'all today, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.